All right, man. So as a lot of y'all know, I run a community, AB Academy. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., we run a live call. And I've been getting a lot of questions and concerns on this channel about credit, how to use credit, how to build credit. So peep game. Today was a credit mastery class. It was over an hour, 30 minutes long. So I'm about to give y'all some essential things that we talked about today to basically put some value into y'all ears, put some game on AB Academy. If you're interested in this, man, make sure you watch this video. It's going to be very, very impactful. No cap. Let's get into it.
Yeah, of course, man. Well, first off, thank you guys, for having me. Some people have seen me before and been on a class with me before. Some people, I'm completely new. So I appreciate all of you guys, being on here. Just in AV Academy in general, right? Before I jump into what I'm doing, what you guys are doing with Avery is super important. A lot of people, and it's not just in the entertainment space for YouTube or I'm sure streaming as well, but even in the credit industry, right? People that join their programs are just numbers to them, right? With AB, he crafted something to where he's truly interacting with you guys and pouring into you guys. It's not just, oh, I got to keep them entertained so they keep giving me views and doing X, Y, Z. No, like he's making something to uplift his actual community instead of just pull from them. He's giving to you guys from himself, right? And as someone who's extremely busy, that takes a lot of sacrifice, right? So what you guys have here is something that many people simply do not do, especially when it comes to, the entertainment industry. I know a lot of people who are, actors like on television and movies. I've been in a lot of different circles. So AB is a very, very, very rare commodity in the space. First thing we're going to talk about when it comes to credit is what is credit? All right. Credit is very simple, but it's also it's not easy, right? But it's also not hard at the same time, right? I say it's simple. Someone's That's kind of like my middle ground. It's simple, right? If you understand it properly, then you're good to go. But if you don't have any knowledge, then you don't have any knowledge. You don't know what you don't know. Credit is simply the ability to borrow money or products under an agreement, right? The agreement that we talked about between two parties, which is the lender, the person who is giving the money, and the borrower, the person who is receiving the money, in which the borrower promises to repay the lender at a later date. All right, so an example, let's say you have Rick, and Rick borrows $100. Now, the amount you borrowed is considered the principal amount, all right, with a 20% interest rate. Now, if anyone tries to lend to you with a 20% interest rate, run away. Unless like a credit card, but even then it's like, a lot of like 0% interest cards exist as well. All right. And let's say he has 30 days to pay it back. If Rick pays that $100 back within the 30-day time frame that he is, granted, then he's paid his debt and there hasn't been any added interest, right? If he pays it back after 30 days, the interest is now going to be added to the principal amount. So just think about it like this. Rick's required repayment is $100, which is the principal, plus 20% interest. Now, 20% of 100 is 20. So he now has to pay back $120, right? We are always looking to avoid interest in two ways. Right now, some of us are entrepreneurs, and just in general, we don't want to have to pay interest if we don't have to. So we are looking for 0% APR credit card. So, for example, it's a very popular one. Chase, has a very, very big 0% APR offer, right? You can get up to 50,000 or sometimes 75,000, just from one Chase business credit card at 0% interest for about, anywhere from, 12 to maybe 18 months. Right. So there's always a time frame normally. And there are other banks that I work with as well that have those 0% interest APR deals also. So this is again key for us as entrepreneurs. We're going to get back into that. But you always also want to pay on time. This is another great way to avoid interest. Always pay on time, right? No matter what. So something that I tell like the younger people in my family, like my sister, my cousin, my brother, if you guys are, going to be using your credit card, only use your credit card for stuff that you have the money to pay back immediately. It's not, oh, I have 5,000 in cash and I have 5,000 in credit, so I have $10,000. That's not how that works. That should not be the logic, right? It's I have 5,000 in cash. I'm going to use, some of this credit, right? So that I can then, pay it back with the cash and then get, those bonus points. But if you don't, eventually that habit and mindset is going to catch up and it's going to lead to you, having to pay back interest, sometimes at really large amounts because the balances will creep up on you as well. All right. So this is just stuff that I've learned in my own experience as well. Like I'm giving you guys, true game from my own experience. So you have to build a strong credit profile first. You're not going to get any money from anybody, right? Same situation for me when I went to get in real estate. I wasn't getting any money if I didn't have a strong profile, right? Credit is about showing that you are trustworthy and responsible. These are the main 2 points when it comes to credit. All right. Now, why is this important? Because a lot of people downplay it, especially in, and I keep this conversation very honest too, especially in, I can't even say minority communities, it's really more so black communities specifically, because, we're always like, hey, I don't really need credit, I'll just make money, or I don't want to mess up my credit, da da da. If you can't mess something up if you're intentional with it from the beginning, right? But it helps companies or individuals purchase what they need now, but can't pay in full. And this isn't, the vacation you want or the Jet2 holiday you want. This is like, oh, I want to start this business and I don't have the capital for the business, right? Borrow money, or the borrower may make a strategic decision to not pay in full, even if they have the cash needed available. That's the key part, right? Because they can get 0% interest for a certain amount of time, like we talked about prior. They can benefit in plenty of different ways from rewards points. People talk about free travel and free hotel stays. That's all from credit card points, right? If one person's credit credentials are poor, they won't be able to get these benefits. So I want to give you guys an example, kind of what I just mentioned. Let's say we have two people. One person has 100K in liquid cash. The other person has 100K in credit. If the first person invested all $100,000 of their cash, they can't take advantage of another opportunity. So if someone's like, yo, bro, I got this crypto, or I have this thing we should do together, da 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 da, they can't do it because their capital is all dried up. All right, the other person can utilize for and apply for more money via their credit. Right now, it's not that, oh, I can spend $100,000 on a credit card, blow all of it, and then be good to go and get another 100,000. No, but if that money is actively working, you can show that that money is actively working. Right, banks will want to work with you. It's all about what you can show them. Okay, healthy credit mindset is this. And again, I believe this is for everybody, but specifically, right, like I myself am a black guy. I don't get away from the conversation of race. I'm a black man. I know how a lot of our people think. So this is, when I made this was to the idea of specifically towards, black people, right? Off my conversations that I've had. So these are some conversation pieces that I've had with people, and they're like, oh, well, stuff like I can't check my credit score all the time, or I don't do it because I don't want to hurt my score. You can check your credit score frequently. There's no negative effects when you're doing it. This is what's called a soft pull. Okay. You have to understand that there are only two times to appropriately use credit. If you have personal use, just like I said, only when you can pay it back. So if you want to get, gas, or you want to get some gum, make sure you have the money to pay that off almost immediately. Okay. And then for business use it to start something that's going to return your money and turn profit. This is what's called good debt. People say stuff like good debt. Good debt is what gets paid off and helps you make money and look responsible all at the same time, right? Debt is only bad when there's no plan behind it. So if you do have the $50,000 credit card, for example, right, and it's 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, right? This is a trading account example that I was talking to with traders, but even if you have like an Airbnb property, right? Or even if you want to start a YouTube channel and you have someone like AB who's like, listen, I can help you get from here to here. You have to do XYZ, but you can get from here to here. So let's say I can get you into, 10K a month, and you have to buy a camera that, is I don't know, AB, what's the cost of like a good solid YouTube camera? Like
About 650, you'll get a good smooth camera.
all right, bet 650. So let's say I spend, $2,000, right, with the camera and just like some other miscellaneous costs, right? But I put that on the credit card and I'm able to make, let's just say, 3,000, whatever the case may be, right? What you need to do immediately is pay that money off that you used to get that equipment, and now you have, a completely clean credit card statement, right? The debt is paid off. Now you got another extra $1,000, and you have all the equipment that you need to really start. Right. So this is kind of what I mean when I talk about debt being good or bad debt.
So this call was over an hour and 30 minutes long. So how we gonna do it is to provide value for you guys on AB Academy YouTube and also to preserve the paid value of my AB Academy school community. I'm going to answer this question by my boy Film 750. 5 days ago, he said, can you talk about the importance of credit utilization? Like how much percent to use per month to build credit? So I'm about to go to the specific part where we talked about this in today's call and let you guys hear what my boy Q had to say.
We have to understand what our score is comprised of, right? So we have five different factors when it comes to how a credit report is calculated. First, we have payment history, right? We have utilization, we have length of credit history, credit mix, and then new credit, right? So y'all tell me in the comments how many factors are there when it comes to calculating a credit score? Y'all drop it for me in the comments. Okay, okay, okay. We got some people. I keep y'all up, man. I know it's early. I was saying how many factors, like number of factors, are there when it comes to calculating a credit score? There you go. All right, bet five, right here. So y'all have to understand these, especially for y'all that are like planning to use this system. Y'all want to start making money. You don't want to have to use all your hard-earned cash to invest in your business. Y'all have to know this because if you miss out on even one of these, right, or if you have, 4 out of 5, you can still get denied, right? You almost will still get denied. If you have great payment history, right? Length of credit is pretty good, credit mix, new credit, but your utilization is too high, they won't approve you for a credit card, right? So it's like this stuff is all very important. Okay. So a lot of people are kind of like ignorant of this stuff and they all don't hold the same weight, but they're all important again, just like I said, when it comes as being used as a whole. So we're gonna dive deeper into each one. So first we got payment history, right? Everybody put payment history in the chat. So I can make sure y'all still with me. Put payment history in the chat. There you go. Perfect. All right. Now this is 35% of your overall score. So that's why having one late payment can kill your score so much. Okay. So it shows how well or how poorly, right, you've paid on accounts over the length of your credit history. So if you have an 800 credit score, right, the highest you can get for FICO score is 850. But if you have an 800 credit score and you take away 35%, that's a 520, right? So that's 280-point decrease. So you have to make on-time payments, right? Even if it's just a minimum payment. We'll talk about that. But make sure your payments are on time no matter what. All right. Get something to make monthly payments on, right? Get a card, get a house, get a car, whatever the case may be. But they're tracking the payments that you're making by percentage on time. What do I mean by this? There's only going to be 12 months in a year, guys. So, if I only have one credit card, right? How many opportunities do I have to show them I can pay on time? If I only have one credit card, there are 12 months in a year. I want you guys to answer that for me. 12. Exactly. So out of those 12, if I miss one, right, I'm cooking myself, right? But also, even if I make all 12 payments versus the person that has, three different products that they're paying on, or even 15 different products that they're paying on, right? They're able to effectively, from a on paper standpoint, build their credit a lot faster and a lot stronger than I can. Okay. So I want you guys to just kind of be aware of that stuff. Like the more you have to pay on, yes, it's more responsibility, which is why, I'm not saying go get, 4 cars and have 4 car notes. However, there's a lot of ways that you can build your credit solely, right? If we get, 4 or 5 credit cards, we run what's called a funding sequence, right? And we get, 4 or 5 credit cards plus. And we only use, let's just say $10 on each card. That's only $40 a month that you have to be responsible for paying back, and you build your credit that way, right? They're not looking at the amount that you spend. This is what people have to understand. They're not looking at the amount you spend. Maybe your bank is, sure, because we'll talk about a way to get credit limit increases towards the end of this presentation. But maybe your bank is looking at how much you're spending and paying off, sure. But Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, they're not worried about that. They're just worried about out of what they're spending, are they paying it off, right? So this is how you build your credit, guys. Next up, we have utilization, right? Everybody put utilization in the chat. Put utilization in the chat. Utilization is very simple. Utilization is just the ratio of outstanding balance limit, right? So out of what you have available, how much have you used? Very simple. So if you have 100,000, if you have $1,000 credit card limit and you use $500, that's 50% utilization, which is bad, right? Now, if you want to be in the good percentile, you want to keep utilization under 30%, right? 30% and up is dangerous territory. Your score will drop. Okay. If you want to be in the excellent percentile, keep utilization at or below, I'll say below 10%. So really like 9%-ish, right? Now, me personally, I recommend keeping it at or below 6%. So I just put a screenshot of, and I normally don't do this because it's like, it's not that it's not classy or it's classless, but it's just something that you don't really do too much in the professional world. But I like kind of showing proof of concept in that I actually practice what I preach. So I believe like a couple weeks ago I did post my credit score, right? So I posted my score and my utilization is at 10%. Um, so I personally recommend keeping it at or below 6% if you want to see your credit continue to go up, but also below 10% or 10% at that level. Anything below like 20%, you're good, right? That's the fair place to be in. What I will say is you don't want to have it at zero because you can get denied for having too much available credit, right? Because banks are copycats, right? Just like AB, tell me if you would agree or not. I've heard someone who does social media say like, man, all social media is you see a trend and you start copying it. You just copy, you copy, you copy. Am I like on the money on that, or
On the money in what regard?
like if there's a trend that's popular, just hop on the trend while it's going.
To grow?
Yeah.
It's a little work.
All right. So just it's the same exact way, right? The banks look at, okay, this dude wants X amount. How much did the two banks before us give him, right? They copy and paste everything. So what happens is though, right, banks before they look at copying, right, if there's nobody to copy, then they have to make an actual assessment. So their assessment will be made off of, obviously all the factors in your credit score, but when it comes to utilization, they're going to say, okay, well, is the utilization too high? If so, we're not giving them anything. Or is it too low? Why? Who knows how banks make their money? Who can y'all can unmute or y'all can put in the chat, whatever. How do banks make their money? Bang. Bryce just hit it. The exact answer. All y'all are saying good stuff, but Bryce just hit it off interest, right? So if I have a card, right, let's say from I don't know, Chase, right? If I have a card from Chase and I'm not using the money, right, and my brother has a card from Chase and he's using it and he's paying it off, maybe sometimes he'll carry a little bit of a balance, right? That's how interest accrues, right? And my brother and I both go, let's say we have 30,000, we say, hey, look, I want y'all to bump us up to 75,000, right? Who do you guys think they're gonna bump up to the 75,000 out of the two of us? Yep. Yep, exactly. My brother, right? Because not only is, the times that he does carry a balance and accrue interest, but even if he's paying his card off, right? And still utilizing the money, there is a chance that at some point he might end up, oh snap, I don't got all the money to pay for it this month. I gotta carry a bit of a balance. Okay. So he's the one that's actually helping them make money. I'm just like kind of sitting with their money. What y'all have to understand about credit is this. It's not like the Federal Reserve where they're just printing money out of nowhere, right? The banks are allocated, let's just say, let's keep numbers small, $10,000, right? $10,000, and let's just say that out of that 10,000, they only have uh two people, right? Or let's just say four people, right? That is a good amount of money for each person. However, they have to make money off of all those people. If they're not making money from all those people, what's going to happen is the people that are not spending the money, right? They're going to take from them because this happened to clients before. They'll have literally, $10,000 in their credit limit, but they're not spending it. So the card will either get closed out entirely or their limit will go from 10,000, maybe 7,500 or 5,000, right? So this is real stuff. This is why you have to utilize the bank's money when you're able to use it. Okay. So that's why, and this is all super like I'm giving you guys a lot of like not advanced information, but I'm going very in depth on this stuff with you guys because it's very important to understand why this stuff works the way it works. And then before hitting the next factor, I want to talk about individual and overall utilization, because it's also a very important conversation. So let's say we have $5,000 available between two credit cards, right? Card number one, we've used 270 of a $3,000 limit. This is 9% individual utilization. And card number two, we've used 1,000 out of a $2,000 limit. That's 50% utilization. Now, overall, the utilization looks to be 25%, right? This is good. However, individually, and some banks kind of differ, which is why I always personally, when I'm starting a new business relationship with a bank, for myself or for my clients, I'll always ask these questions. Some banks care about the individual utilization. Some banks will say, well, overall you're good. And other banks will be like, I mean, yeah, overall you're good. However, this balance is too high, so we can't work with you. Right? Now, there's a possibility that to lenders will look risky because it can look like you need the money, right? Um, so length of credit history, we're kind of wrapping up this section of it, right? Is 15%. This measures the length of how long one's credit history has been established. Okay, this is different from payment history. All right, this is the time that an account has been opened to the time that it's been closed. Now, we never really want to close accounts, okay? Because when you close an account, the history technically stops reporting. So it can be seen by lenders if they pull your report. However, it's not active. It's not something that you're currently working with. Therefore, if there's a closed account, let's say student loan accounts, right? Somebody will pay off their student loans and their score will drop, significantly. And therefore, because student loans for most people is like the first thing that they ever have, right? That's the case for me. That was my oldest account, is my student loans account, and then I got my credit cards and things of that nature. So if you're losing the oldest account on your profile, right, that's going to come with a score decrease. Lenders want to see that you're responsible for long periods of time. Okay. Then you have credit mix, which is only 10%. And this is the types of accounts that make up your credit report. So this includes, credit cards, home loans, auto loans, etc. And again, guys, being responsible for something, like let's say one credit card, for example, is cool. But if I can say, hey, look, I'm responsible for, these 5 credit cards, 2 auto loans, this personal loan, student loans, it's like, okay, dang, like you're able to actually balance debt responsibly. That's a huge thing for them. And then last thing is new credit. This is simply the act of opening a new line of credit. So they want to see that you're able to manage and do well with multiple accounts. All right. You don't want to open too many at one time because that can lead to a lot of inquiries, and inquiries can hit your report for, anywhere from, I think my dog just still up on the floor. My fault, y'all. But you want to kind of be aware of like all that stuff, right? Because inquiries can hit your report very, very hard, like literally 5 to 10 points per inquiry when they first hit. Now, obviously, inquiries fall off after 2 years, but it's like we don't want to deal with that if we don't have to. Okay. And then looking at the other aspect, which is credit can be very confusing in this. They'll say that, hey, listen, we want you to have history if you want to build credit, but in order to build credit, you need history. So that's why you have something that's called credit building, right? And there are different credit builders that you can talk about, which will help kind of boost and strengthen your credit profile, so that when you do want to start making big plays and big moves, you're able to do so.
So, hey, man, if you made it to the end of this call, that means you are pretty interested in bettering yourself. If you are interested in bettering yourself, man, not only through YouTube, not only through credit, but every aspect of life, make sure you click the link in the description, join AB Academy Pro. That is where we hosted this call. This call was over an hour and 30 minutes, but we compounded it so I can give you guys some value, man. So, peep game. That's what I'm going to do for you. Click the link in the description, join up, and we're going to help you make your first $500 online. No cap. And you can also utilize and watch this full presentation, man. So when you come in, DM me the word credit. I'm going to make sure I send this video over to you in the course section, and we're going to get you activated, man. Appreciate y'all for watching. AB Academy for the win.